Kasperi Kapanen has one of the more interesting, unique careers that we've seen from a Penguin in quite some time. He gets drafted in 2014 in the first round. It's supposed to be a pretty solid prospect, lots of hype around him. 1 year after the draft, fans were really excited to see a 19-year-old Kapanen in training camp. Maybe he makes the team. Well, we don't get to see that because instead, he was traded for Phil Kessel. He had a pretty decent, not too bad time with the Leafs, 3 seasons. He didn't really blow up or take off, but he wasn't terrible. Jim Rutherford received a lot of criticism at the time for overpaying for Kapanen, which he did. He traded a prospect and a first-round pick. But regardless, the window was closing. Jim Rutherford needed a winger for right now to help with Sid and Gino, and he got that, and he was preferably young, 24 at the time. So here we are, Kasperi Kapanen finally going to actually play with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Coming into his first season, which was last year, he needed to be a solid player. He couldn't just come and be a passenger. He needed to be one of the main options offensively. So we start last year. Kasperi Kapanen has some visa trouble. He can't be here to start the season, which sucks. So he misses the first few games, comes back, takes a bit of a while to get going. I mean, that will happen when you don't have time to start with the team. He kind of just came in while the play was already happening, and there was no training camp last year. I don't know if you guys remember the shortened season. So no training camp. You missed the first few games, and it's your first year on a new team. I mean, that's recipe for disaster right there. No surprise, Kapanen took a while to settle in. Did he ever settle in, man? Last year, Kapanen was a different animal. I don't think he's had a season like that in his whole career. I remember towards the end of the season last year, looking at Kapanen play and seeing that chemistry he was developing with Malkin and absolutely loving the trade every single day. Every game that he was playing, his speed, his shot, he was scoring, he was making plays. I didn't even care about the first and the prospect because if Kapanen was going to play like that, right, being 24 last year, that was worth it. With the slow start, he finished with 30 points in 40 games. In an 82-game season, that would have been on pace for a 60-point season, 62 points actually, would have crushed his career high. So having a breakout season like that, coming into this season, right, full training camp, a year under his belt with the team, starting on time with everyone else, 82-game season, you couldn't blame myself and fans for thinking that Kapanen was going to take off. I mean, just look at some of these tweets I was making in the preseason and at the beginning of the year. Here I'm saying I believe Kapanen is going to take off. I also mentioned something about Heinen. And then this was me giving my thoughts after, I believe it was a preseason game. I was saying Kapanen is going to be a monster if he stays healthy. And he has stayed healthy, I mean, for the most part, considering how everyone else has been going down. And he's not been a monster, which absolutely is devastating. I mean, honestly, I can't think of it. I mean, I'm sure there is, but right now, I can't think of a time I was this let down, this disappointed by a single player. Like, I'm talking expectation versus what we get. I mean, there's a few I'm thinking right now, right? Brassard, Galchenyuk, whatever. Those were different situations. Kapanen was good last year. Galchenyuk, Brassard, those guys, they were never good to start. Those were just bad trades, whatever. I mean, they didn't fit with the team. Kapanen fit with the team. Him and Gino were taking off last year. They were really good. And I just don't get how he went from that looking like he was going to break out, right? 25 years old, right? You're about to hit your prime, if not already there, and instead we get this. 11 straight games with no goals, no points. Forget the goals, no points. 11 straight games. And earlier in the video, I was saying how, coming into last year, they traded so much for him. We couldn't afford him being a passenger. He had to be one of the main guys. He's not even a passenger right now. It looks like he's invisible right now. I can't even see him on the ice. And when I do see him on the ice, he's turning over the puck. The theme for Kapanen this season for me has been his stick handling. I mean, so many times he comes in the zone thinking he's McDavid with those hands, McKinnon with those hands, and 1, 2, 3, he loses the puck. 1, 2, 3, he loses the puck. He's not even getting poked away or anything. He just over stick handles the plays so many times. I mean, honestly, no words can be put on how disappointed I am with Kapanen's season because I was expecting so much, but the question now is, what do you do? Where do you go from here? In my opinion, I think looking for a trade is the best option because some players, when they're not scoring, have positive impact other places, right? Either they're physical or they play good defensively, or even, they're not scoring, but they're creating chances. Like, I think of Jason Zucker, for example, biggest disappointment, up there with Kapanen on disappointment level. But when he's playing, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think he's a bad player. He just hasn't lived up to the hype. When he's playing, he's solid. He's skating, he's creating. But when he's not scoring, the point is he's creating. Like, he's playing well, he's hitting, he's skating, he's defending decently, With Kapanen, there's none of that. Sometimes I feel like Kapanen's head is 2 steps ahead of what he wants to do. Like, once he enters the zone, I feel like he has so many things he wants to do, but they all lead to nothing, when in reality, he should just make the simple play. Put the puck on net. Don't overthink it. I feel like Kapanen's been overthinking a lot lately. Last year, he wasn't overthinking. He would come off the rush, snipe one, almost all the time. And not always go in, but he would always have a good shot. It would make the goalie have to make a tough save, or he would score. So if he's not scoring, which he's not at all, he's not good defensively. He's not creating chances for his line. If anything, killing plays like I've been mentioning. So what? I guess you'll have to trade him. And like I said, I think you need to look for a trade as much as you can. But what are you going to get for a Kapanen who's not having a good season, right? Because you still want to win now. I'm not trying to just trade him away for nothing. Maybe there's a player available come deadline time that is cheap, not having a great season. You're not really known for his offense, but come playoff time, you'll want a guy like that in your bottom 6, a guy who can defend, a guy you put out there to protect a 1-goal lead and then score that occasional goal or get involved in that occasional offense as a secondary option. If that's out there and you could do a 1-for-1 swap, go for it. But if it's not out there, I wouldn't just trade Kapanen for nothing, because it's a small chance right now, but he could catch fire. It's happened. It happens to players. And the way things are looking, if he's going to catch, it's going to be straight into the playoffs. It's going to lead you right into the playoffs. I'd rather have that option of him catching the fire versus just trading him for a guy who doesn't help you this year, like a pick or a prospect. Maybe I make a future video talking about trade options for Kapanen, who you can get back, but I'd like to hear who you think they can get back for him. And if you don't want him traded, why? Tell me in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.